Good evening, honourable members. The committee is resumed. Kia ora tātou no reire te whare. Inga iwi, inga rio, inga hawe wha, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Honourable members, when we were last considering this piece of legislation, the Members of Parliament Remuneration and Services Bill, we were on part 3. And I understand that the Honourable Member Materia Ture had the call, and according to what I have here, you have 3 minutes remaining if you so wish.
Thank you, Mr Chair.
I call the Honourable Member Materia Ture.
Thank you, Mr Chair. And I do so wish to continue with my contribution. If anybody is curious as to why I have this lovely young thing standing next to me, her name is Jellybean Harakeke, and she is part of the Buddy campaign that is being run by Child Matters over the next week, encouraging adults to adopt a buddy, to carry the buddy around with us, and to encourage conversations about how adults can prevent child abuse and engage in real solutions to prevent child abuse. That is why I have my buddy with me today, Jellybean Harakeke. Mr Chair, before the dinner break, I was just responding to issues raised by Chris Hipkins about the travel allowances part of this legislation. And he was suggesting that the current system whereby MPs have access to travel for our work, we also are able to use travel allowances for personal reasons as well, and that part of the trade-off is that the Remuneration Authority assesses the value of that personal use, and then in determining our salaries, takes away, subtracts from the final determination the value of that personal use. Now that is one way of doing it, and it is the way that it has been done. Our view is that it is not the most transparent way, it is not the most straightforward way, and in fact a better way would be for the travel allowances to be for parliamentary purpose only. And yes, that would require some understanding or rule setting around what does parliamentary purpose mean. For example, and Chris Hipkins raised the issue, if an MP was away from town, away from home on parliamentary business and needed to get home, well, one could reasonably assume or argue that it is parliamentary purpose, the travel itself, and therefore it's reasonable for the travel home to be included in that purpose. That would have to be a discussion. My argument here is that if travel is to remain with the Speaker, as the bill currently requires or sets out, and because travel is considered to be an essential tool for MPs to operate in our job, like our laptops, like our office furniture or whatever other kind of tools you might want to consider, then there is an argument that that tool should be restricted for parliamentary purpose. And therefore, and that would take away then the perception that the public might have, and I think do have actually, that MPs are wanting to retain control over the travel allowances because they want to retain the ability to travel for personal reasons as well as for parliamentary purpose. And so what is the trade-off here? One trade-off we could have is to agree that travel stays with the Speaker but is restricted and is not available for MPs to use for personal travel. We haven't had that conversation yet. This is another one of those issues that remain unresolved. Mr Chair.
The Honourable Member Materia Ture.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. So as a result of that issue being unresolved, that is, should travel be restricted only to parliamentary purpose with no provision for personal use? Because we haven't discussed that, because that has not been a matter that MPs have wanted to discuss in Parliamentary Services Commission and elsewhere, even though it is an issue that has been raised by the Law Commission and the Appropriations Review and in other areas, then the Greens' view is that the travel should also then move to the Remuneration Authority. That it is therefore critical for an independent agency to set the travel rules, that we actually can't have it both ways, where we get to decide our own travel allowance and we get to keep or decide to keep the personal component of that travel allowance. I don't think the public believe that that is the right thing to do. I don't believe the public should be mistrusted either by MPs. I think we can trust the public to have a reasonable view about the tools that we need to do our job. and for them to have a reasonable view about the travel we need to do our job. It is not. Some people will always complain about the resources that we use. But again, in my experience of travelling around the country, talking with people about these issues, the vast majority of people understand that we need to use our travel allowance to get around. They understand and they want us to be able to get out to a variety of areas and talk to a variety of communities. They want to see and hear their representatives from a wide range of parties and from a wide range of, over a wide range of issues. They don't, in the main, they don't believe that we are intentionally trying to maintain our own personal benefit to the extent that perhaps sometimes the media makes out. But they want to be trusted to hold that view. And one of the ways that we can demonstrate that trust is to give over the authority to make these decisions ourselves. It does us no harm. It only does us good if we agree that the public can be trusted to hold our interests at heart, that the independent authority can be trusted to make a reasonable decision about the allowances we need to do our work. And therefore, at the end of the day, all of this takes the political heat out. We don't end up with the kind of, front page news stories that we currently have. The more transparent we are, the more information that we provide, the less we hold on to the authority to make decisions about these things themselves. The more the public will then agree with what it is that we need to do our jobs and trust us to do them with their interests at heart. So I urge MPs to vote for the SOP that I have on the table, which again reinstates travel as being a determination of the Remuneration Authority. I think that is a positive move, it is a practical move, and it is a principled move, and that it gives confidence in the public that we aren't here to further our own interests. We aren't here simply to make it to improve our own personal financial wealth, but we are here to serve the public and to use public resources in a way that is wise and transparent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I call the honourable